Right, like video na share mo before for na ono so enye bi enhwe. And na debate bi ahyase e koso se Kotoka International Airport yensisen din no na yemfa osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah edin ento so isan se ono na ne din no deserve say that search facility so na Kotoka no kra na ne din da so no Ghana fo bi kiremu a omonhu contribution papa bi a oyede mu a Ghana man yensese ne din etimi da Kotoka International Airport so nti yin ne din emfremfri so na nsan ya obeka ya even akwa abakura na egu Kotoka International Airport na nipa bi yese baby a facility no esie Nkrumah mu nti yin akwa aba no kura mfiri o ne emfa obake ento so se be ya ebe kire se baby a facility no esie no eye Nkrumah mu no so the debate be brave by and then the latest one aba renaming of the facility to Dr. Osagefo Kwame Nkrumah. Now, a team of analysts make a lot of contributions, put to some videos together. Led by lawyer Paul Adum Ochre. And afi nipa kwa ono koye press conference efresenka yentumi ensisend no ne de keka ho nyina no. This video ebe mo hu niama bibra ekoso na nso so comment efasa ansem a ekoso no ho no odi aba as to say o agree CNC sending no na yemfa osagefo edin ento so ananse se wo hu say Ghana mampanyin o matwemu ananse Ghana ni bi wo ho disable se edin edin eto Kotoka International Airport.
This is Kwame Nkrumah's mausoleum. The conversation is twofold. Those saying that name the airports after Kwame Nkrumah, like our guest in the studio, say that Kwame Nkrumah is our foremost Ghanaian name. In fact, globally, the foremost Ghanaian name is Kwame Nkrumah and I believe Kofi Anann. Some people would like to say Nana Ajiman Prempeh the first, that's Asante Hine, Intim Jakari, that's Asante Hine, Ya Santoa, that's Asante Hima, Ajusun Hima, all of that. They're all there. But in terms of 20th, 21st century conversations, Kwame Nkrumah was nominated by the British Broadcasting Corporation as the African of the Millennium. The millennium starting from 1900 to 1999. From 1900 to 1999, the BBC conducted a poll and determined that Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, the CPP founder, is the African of the Millennium. It's interesting to observe that Nkrumah actually beat Nelson Mandela to it. I guess that because Mandela is younger, many more young people can relate to Mandela better than they can relate to Nkrumah, even though we've read a lot about Nkrumah. And Nkrumah died before I was born, so, and if I'm that old, you can imagine the rest. Mandela died recently. We all saw Mandela coming out of prison, waving his hand with Cyril Ramaphosa and others. Anyway, we even know of Winnie Mandela quite a bit, don't we? Okay. So they say that Kwame Nkrumah is named the African of the Millennium. So why don't you just name the airport after him? Now, there's an agenda from the CPP people, led by Kwesi Pratt Jr., to establish something for Nkrumah in a massive way. But they are also concerned, the CPP lobby, which are really the people behind, I'm just calling them out, is the CPP lobby that's behind, led by Kwesi Pratt, firmly. And I believe Foreign Minister Blackwell is railroaded onto that as well. I know them, so I know what I'm talking about. Now, the CPP people feel that the expression of the Kotoka airport, it takes away from Kwame Nkrumah because General Ike Kotoka is the one who led the military action to remove Nkrumah from office. And so they don't want, the Nkrumahists have never wanted, the Nzima people and the Nkrumahists and the Kwesi Pratt people, they've never wanted the name of the airport to be called Kotoka because Kotoka is their nemesis. Kotoka is the one who took out Nkrumah. So the CPP lobby had always been concerned about the name Kotoka. When Lehman became president, it was big on the agenda. If you ask Riley Poku, who was Lehman's defense minister, there was a lot of pressure on him. Yakubu Saka, who was deputy foreign affairs minister for Lehman, taught me political science at Legon. And Yakubu Saka talked about it, that when they were in power, it was really a big conversation that this airport named after this nemesis of ours should be taken away. So that is the real motivation. Then forget about everything. I mean, I'm sure that my guests might disagree, but fair enough, I'm a political scientist, I've studied it. The motivation is that this Kotoka guy is the nemesis of the Osagefo. And so the CPP agenda has always been that take the name Kotoka out so that Nkrumah will stand unblemished. This is the agenda. They want Nkrumah to stand unblemished. Is it a wrong agenda? No, it's not. It's not at all. Please come back to the studio. Is it a wrong agenda? It's not a wrong agenda. it's a fair agenda. If I am NPP and many years from now, some MPP hero is not there, and I am there, and they come and tell me that the guy who was our nemesis in the 2024 election, or the 2020 election, or the 2028 election, the guy is being named so and so. If you do that, Akufo-Addo's name will die. Charlie, let's change. Yeah, we can do it as an agenda. It's okay. It's fine. We may succeed or we may fail, but you can't stop us from holding an agenda that Akufo-Addo is not there. Some nemesis of Akufo-Addo has been named after us. So no, we'll change it. We'll take it. We don't like that. We are Akufo-Addo people. Okay. So this is what is happening. The Nkrumah people, and I'm one of them, so to take it easy, I'm one of them. I'm very much one of them. The Nkrumah people believe that the Nkrumah's nemesis is Kotoka. How do you name airport after Kotoka? So they start by saying, oh no, take the name out. And so when they hear the story of, why don't you name it after Kofi Annan? Then they get some chills, because that's really competitive. It's a major competition. If you ask a 19-year-old between Nkrumah and Kofi Annan, he will say Kofi Annan. If you ask a 22-year-old between Nkrumah, he said Kofi. He knows Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan was with us just recently. He was on our TV. He was walking around. He's buried here. His wife came here for the funeral. Kofi Annan was the United Nations Secretary General. Great man. The whole world knows him. How does it feel like arriving back in Ghana Airways from anywhere to the Kofi Annan International Airport, and the pilot says that, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes to land. Thank you very much. We are landing at the Kofi Annan. Nobody's going to ask, who is Kofi Annan? Nobody in the plane is going to ask that question. No one is going to ask that question. And Nkrumah will get the same, but more people will identify with Kofi Annan. But the point I want to make for those who don't like it, I'm coming to those who don't like it, they say that too many things have been named after Nkrumah. Why is he the only Ghanaian? Too many things have been named after him. I'm not bringing back the 4th August conversation. No, I'm not bringing it back. The 4th August conversation is gone into the ballot box. We will settle it in the ballot box. So don't worry about that. It's a political question. That 4th August is a political question. We'll settle it in the ballot box. So I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that there are others who will say that, but Akufo-Addo, who is a descendant of Nkrumah's political opponent, is the one who spends the most state money on Nkrumah's legacy and Nkrumah's image. Think about that. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is a direct descendant of Nkrumah's foremost political opponents, including J.B. Dankwa, his uncle, including his father, Edward Akufo-Addo, including Obechebe Lamte, his best friend's father, etc., etc. These were Nkrumah's political opponents. Not just political opponents, but there are feelings that Nkrumah may have occasioned the death of Dankwa, Obechebe Lamte. All of those things are there. We want to put that behind us, so we don't talk about it. But Akufo-Addo represents that group. But it was Akufo-Addo who has spent the most money on creating a legacy for the Osage. Okay, so this is part of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum that Akufo-Addo created. It is beautiful. It has several visitors all the time. This is an amazing edifice. Maybe they can put the picture directly on the television. Let's put the pictures directly on the TV so people can see. Yes, this is an amazing edifice that was created by one of Nkrumah's political opponents, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. When he became president, that's him right there. That's Akufo-Addo, Samia Nkrumah, and Ken Ofori-Atta. Oh my goodness. I see. I've become emotional. Ken Ofori-Atta. I can see him in the photograph. Standing by Samia. This is making me emotional. Ken Ofori-Atta. Very good guy. Good guy. So back to the story. So this Akufo-Addo in there, taking the cutting the sword for the event. And this is the biggest pronouncement by any Ghanaian government of the Nkrumah legacy. It was done not by Rawlings, not by CPP, not by John Mahama, whose father served in Nkrumah's government, not by John Mahama, but by Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, J.B. Dankwa's nephew, President Edward Akufo-Addo's son. He is the one who came to spend money on Nkrumah. He spent the money on Nkrumah because he understands that whether you like it or not, Nkrumah is the first president of Ghana. We may disagree with him, and we do disagree with him. PDA was bad, governance was bad, was bad. We do disagree with Nkrumah. But we still recognize that Nkrumah put Ghana on the map. At long last, the battle is ended. He's a great speaker. He's a fantastic orator. The African Union put a statue of Nkrumah in Ethiopia. So Nkrumah is a great man. Nobody is saying he's not great. And people don't understand it when you say something about Nkrumah, they say you are this, you are that. No. It is just putting the record straight and keeping the facts as they are. And everything that we have said against Nkrumah, nobody has been able to say that the facts were wrong. The facts are correct. Anyway, so that's Akufo-Addo. So those people say that, you have this. You have Kufuor doing Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This is also done not by CPP, but it's done by the New Patriotic Party's leader, John Agyekum Kufuor, that very distinguished Ghanaian, as Akufo-Addo calls him. He is the one who created this Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So, and then there's Kwame Nkrumah, this Kwame Nkrumah, that. What is that? Plenty Kwame Nkrumah, we like it. Now you say we should take the airports to a name to Kwame Nkrumah. What should the Ghana people do? What should the Labadi people do? Labadi. What should we do? We don't have any name. Our Labadi airport is on Labadi land. You've called it Kotoka for 70 years. You are coming to change it, you take it to Zima. You. Haba. Oh no, that one. I'm not being tribalistic, but please. This morning on the radio, I was excited that the winning argument was that name it Accra International Airport. The main point you are making.
I think the main point I'm making, and fantastic presentation, by the way. I think you've done a lot of the work for me because you've presented options as I had done in my press conference. But naturally, everybody will have a preference. And so where you have espoused names like Kofi Anann, you've mentioned President Kufuor, you've mentioned President Akufo-Addo, all worthy names that could be placed at the forecourt of our republic. I think the motivation has always been the thought behind. I travel a lot, and I think it's interesting how a lot of my colleagues and peers, this actually only dawned on them over the past 2 months of conversations, where actually it's true. And I think maybe this current generation of young people aren't so well tuned to the story of how the airport was named after General Kotoka. And I think that even hit me more. And I was like, look, if there's anything I could possibly achieve out of this press conference was even to let Ghanaians understand, or a lot of my peers understand, how the airport got to be named after him and what we can actually rally around to do in terms of either having it dropped or...
Why should it be dropped? That's a concern.
I think the premise is just as you had indicated.
It's old?
It's not old. It was pretty much named after a coup era figure. And he basically overthrew our founding father. And when you look across airports across the world, except for Nyasingbe Yadema Airport and the one in Algeria, they are all not named after coup-era figures that overthrew the founding fathers. They are airports.
Murtala Mohammed.
Yes, so they are airports named after military rulers. Yeah, but Murtala overthrew General Gowon, not
the civilian government.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so the premise is basically on the fact that for what Kotoka achieved or did, it can't be named after him, especially when we, as you actually intimated in some scriptures you attributed in your first presentation, we must honor our father and our mother. And as you had intimated, whether we like it or not, Kwame Nkrumah is the father of the nation. And
no, I don't agree that he's the father of the nation. Though,
and it wouldn't sit well.
I don't agree that Kwame Nkrumah is the father of the nation.
Exactly.
Yeah, but.
And it wouldn't sit well that at the forecourt of our republic, the name.
But what did Kotoka do? Did he just commit a coup?
Yeah, so naturally.
Was he a hero of his day?
Yeah, so I mean, that's very subjective because whatever images that we see, for whatever forces influencing that particular coup d'etat, you see what the media wants you to see because there were forces that were behind the overthrow. Some allege was the CIA, etc.
Yes.
Now, typically,
were Ghanaians happy with the coup?
Well, I mean, we also didn't. I mean, naturally, we saw a lot of Ghanaians jubilating.
No, I mean, have you asked your grandfather? I've asked my grandfather. Were they happy with the coup?
Yeah, I mean, my father wasn't happy with the coup.
Was he a politician?
He wasn't a politician.
Well, those who are happy with the coup tell us that at that time you couldn't talk in Ghana. Everything was closed. If you read the account, it's there. It's clearly there. PDA had come. Yeah. The parliament that was sitting in 1966 is the same parliament that had been sitting from 57. No elections were conducted.
Absolutely. And
can you do that today?
And that was pretty much the characteristic of all the revolutionary leaders who turned dictatorial.
Yeah, so Nkrumah turned dictatorial.
Absolutely.
And was making himself a lifetime president of Ghana.
Absolutely.
And the Ghanaian spirit doesn't like that.
I think naturally nobody likes to be in a system of oppression.
Absolutely.
Right? And
so Kotoka was a hero, taking us out of oppression.
No, so Kotoka was not a hero. Otherwise, we can also elevate Brutus also to the status of a hero. I mean, Brutus had genuine concerns and genuine reasons for overthrowing Caesar. But there's no monument in Rome that actually elevates Brutus. You know, we do know the name.
But Caesar was royal.
Yes, Caesar was.
And he was entitled to the powers he had.
No,
Nkrumah was Republican.
Caesar pretty much had stated or instated dictatorial rule based on his achievements in Gaul and then crossing the Rubicon. And
Yeah, but that was royalty.
Etc. No, Caesar was an aristocrat. Caesar wasn't royal.
Yeah, but in those days, the land was for some people.
It was for a certain set of people.
Aristocracy.
Senators. Exactly.
Yeah, they owned the land. So if you come on their land, you obey their rules. Ours was different. We were a nation state. Nzima come, Ashanti come, Gan come. We came together to form a republic, run an election, and Nkrumah won it. And he doesn't want to submit himself to another election.
Absolutely.
And he says, I'm lifetime leader. And the Ghanaian people couldn't talk.
Absolutely.
So Kotoka came up and was a hero.
Yep.
And that's why the generations of the day were happy that the airport was named after him.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at Sekou Touré, Modibo Keita, you look at Jomo Kenyatta, look at all these revolutionaries that were peers with Kwame Nkrumah, it was the same sentiment in their home. People were supposedly not happy. But which name never died? It's their name that never died. And which names are still revered today? It's their names that are still revered
Absolutely,
today.
Yeah.
And so I think the fundamental is that there is no coup era figure in any country in the world.
Cromwell.
What?
Cromwell. London. His statue is in Parliament. It's at Westminster. Yeah. He's a coup leader.
Yeah. But
You said there's no coup leader. I'm telling you there's one.
Yes, but I'm saying that I'm saying a coup leader of that overthrew a founding father of a nation. Now, when
That
you look,
founding father conversation can be had for
that
10
founding
hours.
father conversation is the basis of this whole press conference. And the
Okay, so
basis-
your
and the
argument
basis of
is
the
that
agitation
you
of the
say that Nkrumah was the founding father.
Exactly.
Why wasn't not Kisley Hayford? Why was it Nkrumah? Why is it not Kisley Hayford?
Well, as
the founding father, why is it not Kisley Hayford? Why is it not John Mensah Saba? Why is Saba not the founder? He formed the first political party, the Aborigines. In 1874, Saba rescued us from the land bill. Why is Saba not the founding father? Why is it Nkrumah?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be a contentious issue.
And that's the point I'm making. We can talk about it for 10 hours. So I respect your view. But that cannot be imposed on people and say, let's name, because it's a view that has other options. It's a view that can be challenged, reasonably challenged. Some views cannot be. J.J. Rawlings was the author of the 1981 coup. That cannot be challenged. J.J. Rawlings was the author of the 79 coup. That can be challenged. J.J. Rawlings being the author of 79 coup, it's out there. The jury is still out. But J.J. Rawlings, the author of 81 coup, is not challengeable. So founding father, it can be reasonably challenged. Should we then pick up a theory that can be reasonably challenged and impose it on people and say, name the airport after him?
I mean, there are factions between the question of a founding father and the question of founding fathers, right? And I think that contention, we've seen it throughout politics.
Even mothers, founding mothers.
Founding
Where are they? Where are the
exactly.
founding
and
mothers?
So that's hugely opinionated. And so my role is, first of all, to bring the conversation to bear. The first question and the first I'm pushing is, first of all, the name Kotoka, it's their consideration to drop it. And secondly,
I think that's quite popular, though.
Which is quite popular, and which we have to maintain the momentum around that conversation. And I think it died off when the Democracy Hub actually submitted a petition to the judiciary last year. Kweku Sentimisa spoke about it on the show 2 years ago. Kwesi Pratt has been talking about it, and I think we haven't seen momentum. 60 years, this 24th February 2026, it's exactly 60 years since he was overthrown. And I thought we can definitely talk about it and see how much we can do to drop the name ahead of the 24th.
We should do a seminar on 24. Do a seminar and invite me.
We plan to do so.
Yeah, I want to speak against the motion.
We'll be inviting the president also.
Oh, he's too big. Let's keep it at our level.
No. He's very much needed.
But if the president talks, it changes everything.
My address was to the president.
Yeah, we can't argue with the president.
We can do one before that where you.
Let's do one before us for the young people.